Good morning and welcome to Earth Echoes with Amber Fields. Today is a special day for me because I am celebrating 100 days of sobriety. And it's a big deal for me because the only other time I've done this since I was a teenager was when I was pregnant with my daughter. And I'm pretty happy to be here. I've changed in a lot of ways. Last week, I finished the first step of the 12 steps, the 12-step program in AA, and it did take me a while to finish it, just because I'm not in a hurry. And so the first step is admitting that you're powerless over alcohol and that your life has become unmanageable. And I think that part of why it took me a while to complete that step was because I didn't feel powerless over alcohol, and my life had not become unmanageable. I think that in the past, those things had been true, and maybe to a degree, powerless over alcohol would be more true than my life having become unmanageable. But I think for a lot of people, that is the most important first step to maintaining sobriety. And it did take me a little bit before I could admit that I was an alcoholic, because I didn't think that I was an alcoholic, because I wouldn't get outrageously drunk and I wasn't ruining my life with alcohol at this time. In the past, when I was a teenager, I think that I could say that that would be more true. But I was a regular drinker, and I do recognize the power that alcohol had over my psyche and my consciousness. And that was a big reason for me quitting drinking and smoking pot, was that I wanted to be free of those things. I didn't want to feel dependent on them for release or for relaxation, anything like that. And I also wanted to be as clear as I could spiritually and the best version of myself. And so I decided, with the help of other people, including Jason Gray, through his writings, I was really inspired. And that was kind of the thing that ultimately led me to making that final decision of, yes, I need to quit. I'm going to quit. And I'm so happy I did, because I've noticed big changes. I'm much more clear and grounded, and my health has changed. I think that at 3 months, there was some sort of a turning point of 3 months of sobriety, which I achieved 10 days ago. And maybe that's because, those substances are totally out of my body. I don't know exactly, or the changes have maybe settled into my nervous system more, but I'm not experiencing the artificial highs anymore of, being ecstatic, over because I've been drinking, and I'm not experiencing the low lows, and just at a much more constant, sustainable state, and that feels really good. And I think that, I know that others are noticing a change in me as well. I don't know exactly what that is, but a friend of mine the other day said, "Your skin just looks so good," and things like that. And I do feel a bit like I'm radiating. I just feel more beautiful. And so that's a blessing. And in celebration of this milestone for myself, today I would like to read a piece by Jason Gray titled "The Path of Knowledge and Enlightenment." There is a reason that the greatest seekers of truth, sages, philosophers, ascetics, and mystics have always emphasized the importance of sobriety. The path to true knowledge and enlightenment is not something one can stumble upon in a haze of intoxication. It is not a fleeting revelation found in the depths of an altered state, nor is it a commodity that can be bought, traded, or artificially induced. It is a journey that demands absolute clarity, unshakable discipline, and an unwavering commitment to truth. For those who seek the highest wisdom, there can be no shortcuts. Knowledge and enlightenment require effort, sacrifice, and patience. Many who seek these things through intoxication believe they are gaining wisdom, but in reality, they are merely indulging in illusions. Sobriety is not just about abstaining from substances. It is about cultivating a clear mind, an uncorrupted perception, and a will strong enough to bear the weight of true understanding. The necessity of a clear mind. The mind is the instrument through which all knowledge is attained. It is the lens through which we perceive reality, the tool we use to reason, reflect, and understand the nature of existence. If this tool is dulled, distorted, or weakened, our perception of truth becomes equally compromised. A mind clouded by intoxication is incapable of perceiving reality as it truly is. A seeker who truly desires knowledge must have the sharpest mind possible. The mind must be trained, honed, and purified so that it can cut through deception, delusion, and self-deceit. Every intoxicant, whether it be alcohol, marijuana, psychedelics, or other drugs, dulls the mind's edge. It places a layer of illusion between the seeker and the truth, making real understanding impossible. Some argue that substances can expand the mind, opening it to new perceptions. This is a fallacy. A mind that has been artificially altered is not expanded, it is distorted. Temporary shifts in perception are not enlightenment. They are chemical reactions. A person who gains insight through intoxication is not gaining true wisdom, but experiencing a fleeting and unreliable impression. Real wisdom is something that remains even after the intoxication wears off. It is built through disciplined thought, not fleeting chemical states. Why there are no shortcuts to knowledge and enlightenment. The desire for a shortcut is one of the greatest obstacles to true enlightenment. In every age, there have been those who seek an easy way, a path free from hardship, sacrifice, and discipline. Wisdom is not something that can be acquired effortlessly. It must be earned. Enlightenment is not about having profound experiences. It is about transformation. It is about breaking down false perceptions, overcoming the weaknesses of the ego, and confronting the deepest truths of existence. This is not something that can be achieved in a drug-induced state. The true seeker must be willing to walk the long and arduous road of self-mastery, where every step is taken with clarity and awareness. When one tries to attain enlightenment through substances, they are trying to buy wisdom without paying the true price. They are attempting to cheat a process that cannot be cheated. The cost of knowledge is discipline, sacrifice, and endurance. Those who refuse to pay this price will remain forever on the threshold, mistaking illusions for truth. The dangers of seeking truth through intoxication. The dangers of intoxication are not simply physical. They are mental, spiritual, and existential. The seeker who turns to drugs or alcohol in pursuit of wisdom does not just risk addiction. He risks corrupting his very perception of reality. The illusion of insight. Many who use substances believe they are receiving profound revelations. They experience vivid thoughts, deep emotions, and a sense of interconnectedness that seems transcendent. What they fail to see is that these experiences are not true insights. They are illusions created by chemicals in the brain. They do not represent lasting wisdom, nor do they provide a foundation for real understanding. They are mirages, fleeting glimpses into a distorted perception of reality. True knowledge is not something that comes in flashes. It is something that is built, layer by layer, through careful contemplation and deep reflection. The person who chases fleeting revelations through substances will never develop the depth of mind necessary for true wisdom. The loss of discipline. Discipline is the foundation of knowledge. It is what allows a seeker to control the mind, master thoughts, and direct the will toward higher understanding. A person who relies on intoxication to gain insights weakens this discipline. They become dependent on external substances rather than developing the inner strength needed for real growth. Over time, this leads to a lazy mind, one that seeks easy answers rather than struggling through the hard work of contemplation. It fosters an attitude of passivity, where the seeker waits for insights to come to them, rather than actively engaging with the process of learning and self-examination. The corruption of perception. Enlightenment is not about escaping reality. It is about seeing it clearly. Substances create an artificial separation between the individual and reality, distorting perception and leading to delusions. The more a person relies on intoxication, the more they drift away from the truth, mistaking fantasy for enlightenment. A seeker must be able to face reality as it is, without filters, illusions, or distortions. They must be willing to confront the darkest aspects of existence with clear eyes and an unshaken mind. Intoxication is an escape, a way to avoid the difficult truths that enlightenment demands we face. The weakening of the mind and spirit. The mind and spirit must be strong to carry the weight of deep knowledge. A person who weakens their mind through substances erodes their ability to retain wisdom, analyze deeply, and sustain prolonged contemplation. They become like a ship with a damaged hull, incapable of sailing far, incapable of enduring storms. Sobriety strengthens the mind, making it resilient, sharp, and capable of withstanding the trials of deep thought. It is only through this strength that a seeker can endure the long and difficult road to true enlightenment. Sobriety as the foundation of true wisdom. To be sober is not simply to abstain from substances. It is to cultivate a state of being where the mind is clear, the will is strong, and the spirit is uncorrupted. It is to stand before the universe, fully present, fully aware, and fully prepared to receive the truth. True seekers understand that enlightenment is not something that can be given. It is something that must be earned. It is not found in moments of intoxication, but in the hard work of self-examination, contemplation, and deep reflection. It is a fire that must be kindled and nurtured, not a fleeting spark that comes and goes with the effects of a substance. To be clean and sober is to be in alignment with truth. It is to embrace the highest state of consciousness, where wisdom is not something sought externally, but something cultivated internally. The journey to enlightenment is a path that must be walked with clarity, strength, and integrity. Anything less is a detour into illusion. Sobriety is the only way. There is no substitute, no shortcut, and no easy path. The seeker who understands this will walk the path with steady steps, knowing that true wisdom is worth every sacrifice. Jason Gray. There's a lot of wisdom in those words, and again, it is words exactly like that Jason's written that ultimately inspired me to become sober, because although it was something that I'd been thinking about for a long time and my intuition knew was the right thing, it was really hard for me to commit until reading powerful words that Jason had written about being sober and why it's so important. And it ultimately came down to a frequency thing for me. I didn't want to be putting toxic substances into my body with frequencies that could be potentially, that were harmful for me. And I couldn't have done it alone. That's something I've realized. I was encouraged to go to AA, and when I first got that encouragement, I was like, oh, I don't need to go to AA. That's for like real bad alcoholics, you know? But since going and committing to going to meetings every week, or most every week, there have been a few weeks that I've missed from traveling and being overly busy as a mom. But since being committed to going to meetings, I've realized how helpful that is, and that I wouldn't have been able to do it without the people in those meetings and the lessons in those meetings, because AA is really, Alcoholics Anonymous is what it stands for. It's really about a lot more than just being sober. It's a program to be a better human, to be a spiritual human, and to share that process and those understandings with other people who are on the same path or similar paths. And it's just been a beautiful part of my journey of sobriety so far, and I'm so thankful that I was encouraged to go, because I had an idea about what AA was that wasn't accurate at all. And I love how accepting and loving the people are there, and it's all about the program. And so you're not judged for you're not supposed to talk about politics or anything outside of living a sober life, and the 12 traditions and 12 steps, and the process of becoming sober and staying sober. And so it's really supportive in that way, because you're coming into a safe space and you're not feeling judged at all. And am so thankful and grateful and feel blessed to have found that community. And I'm definitely going to stay with it. And someday I will be of service to that mission, because it does depend on regular people like you and me keeping it alive. And I know that it's definitely made humanity better. So it's something that I want to help with in the future, more than just being a participant. So with that, I say thank you for being here with me. Thank you to Jason for the way that you've helped so many people and for your beautiful writings. And I hope you all have a beautiful day.